Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you for tuning in to Motivational Life Global. I'm your host, Mike. And today we'll start off a quote with Buddha Hagen. And the quote is, "We must
overcome.
get rid of the notion that we must be regular. It robs you of the chance to be extraordinary and leads you to the mediocre." And today's topic will be solutions to inner city violence. So I'm going to start off with the schools. And on one of my latest videos, I spoke on how I wasn't trying to stop the violence, but decrease the violence. And I'll expound. I just feel like trying to stop violence is a reach. And we have more leverage to decrease violence realistically. First, when we start off with the goal, we have to start off being realistic. And I just feel as if stopping the violence is unrealistic. So to decrease the violence is an option. And because when you stop the violence, you have to stop like the weapons total, not just guns. You have to stop the knives. You have to stop every other weapon that is being used. And the violence, these acts don't just come from weapons. They derive from the human beings and what's boiling and broiling within inside of them. And so I feel like if we could reach the human beings who have these violent tendencies on the inside, if we can reach them on the inside, then we could get somewhere as far as how they feel about violence and continuing this lifestyle of violence. And so what I would propose, and I'm just giving out options, we have to start somewhere, is that we start with the children and we start in the school system. We're talking about inner cities, and there's a lot that comes with the inner cities as far as emotions, lifestyles, parental choices that have effects on the kids and the families. And so we've got to be able to understand the plight of these kids who become adults and understand that it's their life circumstances that lead them to many of the decisions that they make on a daily basis. And so what I propose is we start with the kids, we start with the children in the schools. A lot of times their households don't render them the attention that they seek, that they may need. This attention they gather outside of the household, right? When they go to school. This is where they begin to act out on the emotions that they're going through in their life, right? If they're getting discipline, say discipline, which is beat up, right? A lot of times you getting whoopings, you getting beat up, punched on, trying to make you tough, and it's really not working. It's kind of making you into like a warrior fighting spirit. You going to school acting like it's the WWE because you're taking out this anger on your class. Well, the children are taking out this anger on their classmates, in which they can't take out on the parent that is beating on them, whooping on them, abusing some of them. They're in drug-addicted households. It's very difficult for a two-parent household to take care of a household, let alone a one-parent household. And this is where our society feels more comfortable in today's time. So I just feel like we have to begin to see, because when the kids are just told, be quiet, go to your room, shut up, sit down, and you feel like less of a person because you're hearing this from the person whom you love the most. And there's emotional trauma there, emotional damage, right? Because you're not just hearing shut up and sit down, you're getting whoopings. You know what I'm saying? At my time, it was pulling switches out. Go pick your own switch. You got a belt. You got extension cords. And now, you know what I'm saying? Some parents is whatever's near, right? And then we have to go to school with this this trauma, right? This emotional trauma. We have to go to school and deal with other classmates who don't come from the same background. And you may not feel like even dealing with that situation, but you have to, right? And so there's a certain frustration that comes with that a lot of kids don't know how to deal with. So they take their frustration out on their classmates. We've got to show them that they're a part of what's important, which is the trajectory of the future of our communities, our local businesses, businesses abroad. We've got to do this from the inside. And what that entails is including them in more activities outside the school. I would ask that we get the local sports teams in on it, that when we have kids that have behavioral problems, it's not that we just throw them away with suspensions and expelling them, but it's we have to look deeper into a situation. And a lot of times we don't have the resources to do this, but we gotta make a way. We gotta find the resources. We need to be able to have a lot of the sports teams invite them to a lot of the games that are going on, because these kids are, it's a little chilly out here, but I want to come outside, so yeah. But we want to include them in sports venues, games, whereas and it's not just all of them. It's not like a football game is all right, but a basketball game I wouldn't propose. A music concert with R&B and rappers and pop, I wouldn't propose, because the key and the point is not just to implement them into society, but to also make sure that we're showing them how to carry themselves around different types of individuals from different cultures, from different backgrounds. but we want them to be around the mature adults, the responsible adults, right? We don't want them to be around individuals who are a couple of years above them, wearing all colors of their hair color dyed and all types of clothing styles and no type of discipline, so to speak, because they're young and they're free, right? They're expressing themselves. But we want these young kids to be shown how to go into a disciplined society and environment and be able to conduct themselves around mature adults, rather than them continuing to be around the influence of what's causing the issues in the first place, which is a lack of discipline, right? So we want them to know that, hey, your attitude and personality is not to go into every room that you go into, every situation that you're in, every neighborhood that you might find yourself in, every environment that you might find yourself in. But that there is a way that you carry yourself and conduct yourself within every environment you go to, right? We come from the inner city, we come from, the projects, but we don't carry that same attitude in every environment that we may enter into, right? Some environments don't require us to carry this nature of ourselves, right? Because we have other individuals who aren't of this nature. We don't want to scare them off. We don't want to act like we don't have proper home training. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of us don't have proper home training. And so we need to help out these single parent households and to get these kids, these children around mature adults who know how to carry themselves, right? So that we also, that they're accounted for, that they don't feel left out, right? That they don't feel left out, that they don't feel like, oh, I'm just a kid, I'm just a child, I just have to go and sit in a corner somewhere, no one's paying me any attention. And so we want to be able to, because when you have individuals who don't leave the neighborhood, you become institutionalized. That's not just for prison. That's also for an individual who never leaves their environment. And when you're in a harsh environment, which we all know we call the jungles, and this is not just my culture, but this is everybody's culture, who are all living in one environment, who have struggles and challenges with their kids trying to stay out of trouble and jail and off drugs. But when we don't leave the neighborhood or the block or the projects, we become institutionalized. And we carry this same attitude wherever we might find ourselves, right? And so we want them to be able to know how to conduct themselves, and that they are a part of society, even though they're kids, even though they're children, that we do realize that they're going to grow up one day, that we also keep in mind as parents, we were also ahead of our time, maybe a year or two wiser than our parents understood us to be, right? Because we didn't have this relationship of communication, right? So I also want to say that we've got to, and I'll because it's been a couple of years and you see me from the shoulders up most time, I take this time to give a head to toe visual, just so we can get a visual of me just outside the shoulders up. That's just a quick head to toe. It's been a couple of years, and you know, I don't want to be like Max Headroom. Max Headroom. HBO. Cable Max Headroom with the robot from the shoulders up with the spiky computer. Alright, that's alright. Just Google it. Because I would be all day trying to figure that out, right? Cable and everything. Y'all probably ain't know what cable is with so much streaming services going on right now. But yeah, by the way, I still watch regular TV. I still watch shows that came on cable, actually. But so I wanted to also mention the integrity of the teachers inside the classrooms and how, as teachers and leaders, the teachers and leaders are presenting themselves in front of the kids and the children. And I want to mention the way the dress code is. And I just feel like, because there's a lot of young teachers, and you know, they're young, they're shaped, they're well shaped, whether they're, you know, I'm not in the men, but the men, the women, and you know, they want to come to school and kind of show off a little bit, show the curves. And you know, you got the teachers, the co-workers that you see on lunch breaks and lunchtime. But I would just like to say that I just don't see any reason a teacher will be flattered by elementary school age or middle school age or high school age student who is flattered by
enchanted
them and, you know, the things that they're flaunting. And I just think that as far as the educational system, I understand the challenges, but as far as the principals and the school of these schools, that, you know, the integrity be brought back into play on how the teachers are dressing in front of these children. Because I'll tell you something, thank goodness I didn't have a teacher that I was distracted by, because it would have been a distraction, right? And you gotta understand, when you have the kids who are attracted during school hours and they can't do anything about it, at some point, you know, they look for other ways to go about experiencing, you know, certain things. And then you get a lot of other stuff that I won't mention on this video, but I'm pretty sure that great minds think alike. You know where I'm going. So we don't really want to entice the kids. We just want to be professional, right? And dress the part and show them that we're mature adults, because we're the front line to their emotions, right? We're the front line to their influence. So if they look at a teacher, they should see someone who's a leader and who's an adult, right? A mature adult, not someone who's like their older brother or sister or uncle or aunt, who is dressing like them, acting like them, talking in the same dialect in which they talk. You know what I mean? So I just feel like we need to bring back some integrity with the way the teachers are dressing and interacting with their students. It's a different day and time. And it's important that the students look at teachers and have a certain level of respect, right? Now, yes, teachers ought to be paid more, and you know, it's rough when you get into certain inner city schools dealing with the attitudes and the personalities of these kids who are very aggressive. And I get it, and I understand that. That'd be like another conversation too, another topic. But as for right now, I want to focus on the kids and the children. And so the next on my list is, so we have a lot of shootings and things of that nature, right? And it almost seems, maybe it's not common sense, but I just say, okay, how about metal detectors at each and every school, a metal detector, right? So you make the goal of a school shooter that much difficult to even try to accomplish when you have metal detectors at each and every entrance and exit at every single school, right? Because we have these metal detectors at stores protecting products and merchandise, but not our kids and our children, and I just don't really understand that part. So yeah, I would just say that the root of decreasing the violence is to decrease the anger, the frustration. So yes, back to getting the kids out. So it's not just the good kids. We're talking about the kids who are acting up in class. I'm saying that we should get them to some games, and again, not basketball. Like, we want them to be around sports that they're not ordinarily exposed to, such as hockey, soccer, lacrosse,
baseball,
track and field. We want them around a different type of individual. We don't want them to get cozy within their own environment, right? We want to get them out of the comfortability of their environment to get them to be exposed to the fact that there's more to life than gym shoes, jewelry, and cars. Selling drugs, shooting, doing drugs, gangbang. So we have to reach into the individuals, not just stock guns and the weapons, and you know what I'm saying? So we stop the violence by stopping the violence. We decrease the violence by decreasing the violent tendencies and the anger and the frustration that is within those who create the violence and the aggression in our neighborhoods. We have to be able to understand their frustration, what they go through, how they're living, their lack of parenting, love. So, yeah, I just propose that we start, like, again, soccer games, lacrosse, plays, operas, musicals, different environments that harbor different individuals of different backgrounds that they wouldn't ordinarily be around because they don't leave the neighborhood. They don't get to leave the neighborhood. We want to be able to get to them before they crash out to the point where they ruin their future before they get to start one. When I was young, I met the first black mayor of Chicago. I shook his hand. Mayor Harold Washington. I don't even remember. I had to be about 4 or 5 years old. I just remember a crowd of individuals, crowd of people, and the next thing you know, it kind of opened up, and there he was. I knew who he was because I was used to seeing him on television. And I got to shake his hand, and it's something that I never forgot. It's something that I always carried with me. It's something that showed me that there's more to life than just the immediate environment that I'm around. Even at that age, because I would grow to understand, like, okay, it's one thing, you know, that's the mayor, but then you find out, okay, that's the first black mayor, right? I don't know anything about what his tenure was like. I just know his accomplishment, right? And that left an influence, a positive influence on me. I went to, and I haven't been to a lot of them. But I went to my first funeral at the age of about 5 or 6 years old. The funeral of my god brother who was murdered due to gangbang
violence.
It hurt. It left a lot. And a lot of times, and if I didn't get a chance to go to the funeral, it would have hurt more, right? So I'm so thankful that I got to go to the funeral. But yeah, it hurt. You like 4 or 5 years old. Your god brother, the one who, you know, protected you, tried to teach you the ropes of life. You know, someone that you didn't live with. I didn't live with him, and I didn't see him every day or every week. But it was just, he had an influence on me, and it was a positive influence. And a lot of times, when you experience pain like that, your parents might not understand why you're acting out or why you're acting a certain way, because they don't understand the trauma. And so that's just an example of how when you have these kids who are at school, you look at them like they're barbaric, but you really don't understand what is leading them to feel that way. And it's quite possible to change their direction with just someone giving them and showing them some attention, knowing that they're loved, knowing that someone's listening to them, knowing that someone cares, knowing that things aren't just going to happen to them and that they just have to deal with these things, that someone actually cares, and if it's some type of emergency, that someone's going to be there to help them out. So it's important that we make sure that they're aware that they are loved, that someone is listening to them, that someone does care about them. These are the things that could change the trajectory of a potential failed future. So I'm trying to think of anything else that I wanted to say. So the idea is not to reward them with bad behavior, because then you say, hey, Johnny, you went to the soccer game, you had a great time, you took pictures, what happened? You went back to your old self, you know, the next week or a month. And then it's time to suspend Johnny and expel Johnny, but we also have to continue to talk to Johnny, counsel Johnny. You don't just, if Johnny makes another mistake, throw Johnny away again, right? We have to continuously, so this is a lifestyle. We have to continuously support them. That's what else I wanted to say. this becomes a lifestyle. When you have large problems and issues, it needs large solutions. These large problems that have large solutions, the product, the results don't occur overnight, right? So we can't do these types of things, you know, like you may have maybe some type of person of prominence goes into the classrooms of each school and talk to the students, let them know, hey, we see you guys. Glasses off to you all. We're looking forward to you growing up and having bright future. Along with this, the results don't happen overnight. So we have to set the time to maybe a couple of years before you see some results, because you're dealing with the mind, you're dealing with emotions, spirits. So when you're dealing with minds and young spirits, we can't rush them, right? We have to be patient in the process and make sure that we're paying attention to the analytics,
research,
and the ways in which we're going about trying to tackle this issue, right? So that it takes time. So again, we shouldn't be expecting results right away, right? We got to it's like when you take vitamins and medicine, you have to give it a chance to get in the system and go through the system, right? So a couple of years, a year or two, at least a year or two. And then, you know, you can start looking forward to some results. And with that being said, I think I just about covered all the bases, spoke on everything that I want to speak on concerning this topic. And yeah, this is how I propose a solution to decreasing the violence is to start with the kids and the children and help to deal with and heal their emotions that cause them to act out, right? Cause them to go into that neighborhood and act out. Show them more options than the one that they're being shown, right? So in essence, we're also helping out the household, right? Because in my day, in my time, the saying was, it takes a village. So with that being said, thank you all for your time. I'm so appreciative of all of your support. Yeah, the support again, all of your support is out of this world. I'm so thankful and grateful, and I appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Mike, Motivational Life Global.